Hey everyone, and welcome back to Conqueror's Blade. Now today I have a really good match to show you all. Super intense, very fast pace. It was overall just a ton of fun to be in, as well as an important lesson on why I absolutely never climb ladders. The enemies tried to climb the ladders, and after they were done, they were probably very, very sad. Now, I don't want to spoil much for what's coming, so very short version of it. No matter how many numbers you send up a ladder, it's not going to work. Now, I'll just briefly show you the units that you're going to be seeing. This way you have a clue of what's going on as we're in the match. There's a total of 4 units you're going to be seeing in the match. One of them is the Alchemists. These girls function as my healers. They're not able to do damage of any type, but they are able to heal pretty well, although you don't get to see them very often because they're not brought in until towards the main end of the match. Another unit I'll be bringing is the Imperial Archers. These dudes are known for having large amounts of ammo, good range, and a very powerful second ability, which is the main one I use, called Bodkin Arrows. Short version of what this is, it's armor-piercing arrows. So they are very, very damaging. You're not going to get to see a lot of them though, because I made a mistake with them and it made me very, very sad. Now the next 2 units you're going to get to see are the 2 highlights of the video. The first I'm going to show you is the Iron Reapers. This is a legendary unit that's armed with a flail and a longsword that you can switch between, and I mainly play with the longsword simply because I feel it does better for them. They are extremely heavy armored, which makes them slow but really hard to damage, as well as having a ton of health. They also do a lot of damage themselves, as well as having a passive ability that I've given them to stun enemy heroes when they hit them, which makes it very fun whenever you have an enemy stun locked and they're just stuck there until they're dead. Now they have 3 abilities that they can use. The first one is Shock, which is basically their version of a charge ability. This charges in the direction that you tell them to go, and it lands massive damage whenever they hit an enemy. The second ability they have is called Tiger Step. This is also like a charge that they do, except they just naturally have a charge that lasts for 12 seconds, as well as granting them crowd control immunity, which is extremely useful. And the third and final ability they have is Regeneration. It's a healing ability that lets them restore health over time. And the final unit you'll be seeing is the Myrmilones. This is a very powerful Roman unit armed with a sword and a shield, although they mainly fight using the shield. They have a few passive abilities that are extremely useful for them that make them stupidly tanky. Whenever they're in their shield formation, they are very resistant to crowd control, which makes it very hard to even land a hit on them. They also heal while they're in their shield formation, and if you're up close enough for them to hit you with their shields, they will bash you and knock you back. This makes them absurdly tanky and difficult to kill. They have 2 main abilities they use. One of them is just an extra regeneration that I gave them. This allows them to heal even more on top of the natural healing they already have. And Myrmilo's Guard, which is basically their version of a charge ability. They go charging forward very quickly and bash an enemy with their shields. They do this 2 times and then go back into their shield formation. Both hits from their shield send enemies flying, and the second one in particular does massive damage. Now with that out of the way, let's get straight to what you all came here for and get straight into the match. So we're going to be taking these guys and heading up to defend the walls. Now as we go up, this is where I notice the enemy making a big mistake. As I come around the corner, I see ladders. I start to move my units up, expecting to defend them just a few at a time. I start to kick one down just to funnel them up a thinner amount at a time. And as I look down, I see all those enemies, all those generals. I realize they're all coming up, they're dedicated to it, so I bring over my unit, and the battle begins. However, they're fighting a bunch of elite troops, me and a couple of allies, coming up just 2 at a time. We end up getting a general kill immediately, so there's 1 hero down. We're getting some assists. We are clearing out their units, having an absolute blast as we do it. There's a second hero kill, and all the others are here trying to fight. I get a charge off just to do a bit of extra damage. There's another hero kill, so I think that's number 3 if I'm counting right. And there's number 4 popping up, along with however many assists we're getting. Speaking of which, there's another assist. And along with that, we've also got over 50 kills now in units and a 5th hero kill. And I think that's 2 or maybe 3 on assists. We have absolutely cleaned them out. I'm taking a glance down. I see that they're still there. The cannonball, I think, finally managed to get one of my guys. There's a few of them in the red and are very low health. I'm trying to just heal them up whenever I can, trying to trigger their healing ability whenever it's available. Doing anything I can just to keep them alive. I glance over and I notice as I started to leave, this guy came up And so we walk over and we use their passive ability to stun him to death. And just like that, we get 6 hero kills in this one spot. And for some reason, he didn't learn from seeing what happened to the rest of his buddies and decided to send his unit up right behind him. Managed to get an assist on that guy that came up. Poor him. We continue fighting until this unit is fully cleared out. Finally, they push up the siege engine, and so now they might be able to make a proper push, except there's just one dude there. In a one-on-one fight, they're not going to win. We clear out his unit pretty much immediately, and we start to move to try to fight him, but he's going to try to pull back, except it's not going to work for him. He jumps straight into some of my allies, and he's finished off. Now, I'm not sure what's coming up right now, and I'm not sure where the trebuchets are. I imagine they didn't do it probably because of the insane numbers they had there compared to us, and they probably didn't want to trap their own guys. Now, my unit starts to go in on their own. I don't want that to happen, so I scoot them back just in case a charge is coming, and it's a good thing because here did come a charge. I trigger their second ability to get them charging in. They managed to clear them out really well, but this unit is strong. That unit we just killed might be squishy, but they're very good with burst damage, so they did manage to injure us. And now that they've taken out some of our numbers and are making an actual good push up the siege tower, they just managed to finish off our unit, and that's the end of the Reapers, although we end it with over 150 kills. I see some of the enemies beginning to charge at me, so naturally I decide that it's not good for me to die with my unit. I pull back, go to the supply to pick up my next unit, and prepare for the second phase. Now, while I'm on my way back to resupply myself with a unit, they end up taking the A point. So as a result, I grab my archers and decide I want to try to shoot them a bit as they come down. Now, just in case they come down quickly, I don't want to just go straight to the stairs. So instead, I circle back around a little bit, just as a little bit of a precaution. Now, as I'm here, I'm looking around and notice I'm not seeing any enemies. So I pull up the map to have a look and realize my allies are actually holding them on the stairs for me. This results in me deciding to try this play, where I pull up and decide, more or less, I want to shoot some fish in a barrel. I pull up, I see my allies going to reinforce that even more, so I'm feeling pretty safe. I pull up, have them use their second ability to do big damage even through their armor. However, this was a mistake, as they broke through much quicker than I thought they were going to. I see that and immediately start trying to pull my unit back to get them away and put them towards the supply. However, they're still getting caught a little bit, they're getting picked off. I come by, try to slow down the pursuit, and I successfully do that. At least on this side. Then as we're retreating, I see that there's a lot of enemy heroes there. I have the unit stop and at least start taking some shots, knowing good and well that they're caught. I at least hope that they can do some damage and make their death worth it. However, I don't even see that they're really able to do that. I immediately start pulling out my shields, pulling them out very cautiously as a lot of the enemies are still nearby, and I'm ready to jump out of the supply point zone to make them not appear just in case they come out and get surrounded. However, I notice that the enemies are not coming this direction, so I go ahead and pull them out, but they're also not coming on this side of the base. This tells me that they're most likely heading towards the left side of the main base and trying to attack the main base. So I start pulling my unit around in order to help assist with that. As I approach, I see this one hero, for some reason has decided to show up without any units. I don't know if they got killed or what, but he's quickly cut down. As I come around the side, I see that there is a massive fight appearing to go on. I move my unit up into position, get them close, and get the charge off. With that, I'm able to successfully finish off quite a few enemies, and somehow in there even managed to pick up a stray hero kill. Pretty fun time. Once that's done, I see some of my allies are continuing to push forward, and I decide to push with them since I glanced down the alleyway and saw that no enemies were coming to reinforce. However, as I move up, I see that there's a lot more enemies there than I expected. I accept that my allies are pretty much dead at that point, and I decide to pull back and not die with them. As I pull back, I see these enemies are here and decide this is a great chance to get a charge off, as well as to get them back very quickly. I apparently do it just on time as the heroes were approaching to try to stop me. As we get in the charge, manage to pick up a few kills, and that's pretty good. And this very hard fight continues to go on, as when I'm here, these guys with the flags on their back, they show up, and that's a very powerful legendary unit itself. And so I'm concerned, as soon as my unit is ready to use their charge, I use it because I want to kill them before they have a chance to use their abilities on me. It mostly works as we pick up a ton of kills in that. And thank God, my allies show up with some more shields to reinforce and help soak up some of the damage. While that fight is going on, I'm also trying to attack this short sword and shield, try saying that 3 times real fast, and successfully knock him into my shields, that way he gets stunned, as the shields will continually kind of knock him back and crowd control him to some degree. Now somehow he actually manages to slip out of that. I don't like it, so I decide to go say hello, tell him I'm tired of him being around. He lays down to take a nap, and now there's just a couple of enemies left. I also made a slight mistake with my shields earlier by not making the charge long enough, that way they didn't actually get off a charge. I fixed that mistake this time, tried to charge him, except he must have used his ultimate to charge through them while they charged him. What irony in that, and it does actually manage to save his life, for the moment at least, until their charge comes off its very short cooldown again, and I charge him once again. Now here's where something really fun actually happens though. I charge him, but the other hero was standing a little too close, and so the second shield bash walks straight over to him and finishes him off. I got a 2 for 1 on a hero that I didn't even know was there still, so that was a fun moment. Now as I was pulling back, I also noticed on the minimap there was a lot of red dots around the main base, and sure enough as I approach, I can see that it's under a pretty hard attack. I'm concerned my allies might get overwhelmed, so I pull my units in, and I see the pikes that were there earlier, but they're pretty dwindled down at this point, so I try to get in a flanking charge, that way they don't crowd control me, because I really don't want them sticking around to repeatedly poke me and knock me off balance. It ends up working out. Somehow I even managed to get a stray hero kill right there. This guy tried to run away, knocked him off his horse, but he still managed to escape. That guy, I remember seeing him throughout the game. He was a slippery one. As I approach back to make sure the other side isn't collapsing, I noticed they're beginning to make a push over there as well. So I moved my unit into position and prepared for our next charge. Now I don't see a whole lot of their units, so I kind of decided this is going to be a hero charge. I'll still take it. It's always fun to get rid of the generals. Give them a heal as they go in. And they don't seem to really manage to get a whole lot on this one, although they do get a bit, and it's definitely useful. Somehow, they managed to actually keep my guys from getting into formation. Annoying for me, but a very good strategy for them. They're doing everything they can to stop them from getting into formation. However, eventually we are able to get back into our shield formation. It works out, and we try to get off another charge. However, I make the same mistake and make the charge go too short, causing them to not be able to really attack them. Now right here's where a fun moment happens though, and this poor longsword and shield ends up getting stuck between my unit that bounces him back and forth between the other spears, and he ends up dying, and probably in a very annoyed fashion. Now I try to get off another charge on this guy who was charging in. Probably managed to do some damage to him, but it's just one guy, so I'm not too worried about him. This guy's trying to get away. I drop a heal on my guys and drop a speed boost on the other dudes, just so that we can catch him and get this annoying guy out of the way. Now this is where something major happens though. I see a very powerful unit coming in. These guys do even more damage based on them taking damage. Almost kind of like a revenge meter, I guess you could call it. They end up actually doing some big damage to my guys. A lot of them are very low health. Has me a little bit worried. I immediately try to heal them up because I know they're coming back, and I need them healthier for the next fight. I try to get off a charge, hoping to finish them off, just like I did the first time. And just like the first time, I did manage to get a few of them, but not enough. They do end up finally managing to finish off my guys. They send me with them, and just like that, this last little bit of the push is finished. Now I'm down to my last unit, which is my healers, and I do exactly what you'd expect I'd do with them. I move up, try to get into the back line, and I drop a heal on everyone, myself included. Now once my healers get up here, they have a very good ability where they actually heal the overall area. I see some archer fire coming in, which has me pretty concerned. But I'm even more concerned about the base I see at the top that's about to be captured. I try to have them throw a smoke bomb just to blind them. I try to use my charge ability to get through, but I just can't do it in time, and we end up bringing in a loss. Now I can see that I did still manage to do pretty well. I managed to bring in the MVP as well as the highest damage received in the game, showing that I was definitely pretty tanky for him. I also managed to bring in 238 unit kills while getting 10 hero kills and 16 assists off of only 1 death. Also managed to get 1900 in a unit kill score, so also managed to make it some good quality troops that we were killing. Now moving on into the unit stats, we can see that my Imperial archers, they barely had a chance to do anything. I kind of made a terrible play with them. Can't help it. That's going to happen sometimes, even in your good games. Alchemist barely had a chance to use. Mirmalones managed to get over 70 kills and 4 hero kills. Very good, high quality kills as well, we can tell by the unit kill score right there. And that was probably while also being the source of the main tankiness that we had in that game. Those guys were tanking everything, so that was pretty great. And now on to the star of the show in my opinion, the Iron Reapers. And I want to talk for just a moment on these guys because I think there's a lesson to be learned here. This is a unit of 18 guys. They got 152 unit kills and 6 general kills along with several assists. They got every bit of that value just by standing at the top of the siege ladders. Now the lesson here is that I do not care what quality troops you send up the ladders or how many of them you send. It will never work. It will absolutely never work. You will get piecemealed every time you try it. These guys were absolutely carrying the game at that point. They never did break through on the ladders. They never got my guys until they finally gave up on the siege ladders and came up the siege tower. So if there was any tip I could give you, it would be to never, ever use siege ladders. They're just not worth it, because the enemies didn't even play bad. They just made a bad play right there. Now moving on into the overall team stats. Once again, you can see I got the MVP. A lot of my allies didn't manage to do great right there. Honestly, I suspect maybe it was coincidental timing, but I noticed that right after I got my first death and they finally broke through my shields, right after that they made the push that won them the game. I don't know if that was coincidence or if it was really just me holding, but oh well, so be it. Sometimes it happens. Now I can see that some of them didn't do too bad, but overall it wasn't great. Meanwhile, some of those enemies, wow, some of them did amazing. One of them might have even did better than I did right there, honestly. Their top MVP, he did great. That player did great. With that being said, I hope you all enjoyed the video. I honestly enjoyed playing this one. It was such a good match. Had such a great time with it. It sucks we lost, but hey, you can't win them all. I hope you all enjoyed it. Hope you all even managed to learn a bit of something with it. God bless each one of you, and I'll see you in the next one.